know what I wanted. I wanted this family. I wanted too much for my sister wives. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up this video if you've been riding along with the emotional roller coaster that is Sister Wives. Today, we are discussing one of the most hotly debated moments so far. Robin Brown has got fans in an uproar, and what she said on a recent tribute episode has left people seething throughout the fan base. So what did she have to say, and why are others labelling it disgusting? Tune in to discover. Robin Brown has repeatedly put herself at the centre of Sister Wives drama. She's stated over and over again that when the three original wives departed from the marriage, she lost her family. But everyone believes her actions speak louder than words. She's been accused of trying to pressure Mary into staying in the plural marriage, not for Mary's sake, but to benefit herself. That sense of entitlement, along with feeling disrespected, has only made the divide between Cody and his older kids even deeper. What made it worse is the manner in which she and Cody reacted during the tribute to Garrison Brown. What was supposed to be a heartfelt, dignified tribute became something awkward, selfish, and far too upsetting to fans. On Sunday, May 18th, the Brown family came together to bury Garrison. While most of the family spent time grieving together, Robin and the kids went horseback riding on Cody's family ranch. And in a jaw-dropping moment for viewers, Robin made the comment about how handsome Cody looked while riding a horse. She called it delicious. Yes, that is what she said. On a funeral day, fans couldn't get over what they were hearing. One of the viewers made the observation that producers could have cut out that segment, but they did not. They left it there, which made Robin appear totally out of touch and narcissistic. Instead of mourning with the rest of the family, she was worried about Cody's cowboy persona. It seems like the show's editors are no longer protecting her image. In earlier seasons, her questionable moments were often softened, but not anymore. Now, we're seeing Robin exactly as she is, and it's not sitting well with the audience. Even Cody seems distant from her as the family deals with the aftermath of Garrison's passing. People are wondering, how could she be so oblivious? When the family required coming together and sympathy, Robin's response was shallow and even inappropriate. Robin also told us that her family spends a week a year in Wyoming, but her response to the horse ride and scenery indicated that it was the first time she had ever done so. Viewers are beginning to doubt her credibility, pointing out what they perceive as inconsistencies and potential falsehoods. But the drama does not stop with Robin. Cody Brown is also being put in the hot seat. At Garrison's funeral, some fans feel that he subtly ridiculed or dismissed his oldest son, Logan Brown. Logan has always been regarded as the responsible one, the emotional pillar of the family, but Cody's behaviour towards him was icy and condescending. To most fans, this wasn't poor parenting. It validated that Cody is more estranged from his older kids than ever. The tribute specials were meant to be about Garrison. Instead, they showed just how broken the Brown family has become. So what's next? Is there hope for healing? Or are we seeing the slow, agonizing breakdown of a once close but very untraditional family? Let us know in the comments what you have to say. Has Robin finally demonstrated her true character? And what do you think of Cody's actions at the funeral? Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more reality show breakdowns. The Brown family travelled to Wyoming for a sad purpose, to bury Garrison. The family had not seen one another in years, and this reunion, as much as it was needed, was amazingly agonizing. Reuniting under the circumstances of such tragedy gave the reunion an added note of emotional depth. It was both a time of sadness and tension. Garrison's urn was moved from elsewhere to Wyoming by Cody and Robin Brown. In a painful gesture, Cody himself dug the cemetery where his son's ashes would be interred. The moment left viewers on edge. It wasn't merely the physical act, it represented years of emotional distance and unresolved tension within the family. When it came time to bury the urn, the atmosphere grew even more tense. Cody sat silently on a nearby log, while his eldest son, Logan, stood beside his mother, Janelle, offering quiet support. At one point, Cody struggled to get up, and Logan immediately stepped forward to help him. But Cody brushed him off without a word of thanks. Although one of the viewers at first got Logan confused with his brother Gabe, the feeling was still obvious. Cody didn't seem to care about taking help or creating a moment of love. One of the fans pointed out how this one interaction could have been one little thing towards healing, particularly considering how far Cody has gotten away from most of his older kids. Logan's sacrifice did not go unnoticed. A man of quiet strength, Logan has always risen to his family's defense. He did not do it for the accolades, just as he did not ask to have his wedding tape. He attended the funeral because he knew that his family required his presence. When Janelle had to work early in the morning when they were children, Logan would rise before dawn to prepare breakfast for his younger brothers and sisters. Viewers were emotionally affected and angered by how Cody treated him. That moment beside the grave, when Cody refused to even shake his son's hand, made viewers see how broken the relationship with his other children really is. One person commented that Cody appeared to always be competing with Janelle's sons, and couldn't just say, "Thank you, son," on such a sad day. Logan's strong silence said more than words. He appeared, stood by his man, and didn't allow pride or resentment to interfere. To most viewers, he was the better man. What made the affair worse was Cody's emotional absence. He didn't stand by his children, even as they openly crumpled. Fans couldn't get over the emotional detachment he displayed at such a poignant moment. In the meantime, the series has again fueled discussion, but not in the way anyone wished. A family once symbolizing togetherness is now coming under fire, with fans expressing anger and disappointment on the internet. A multi-part special on Garrison was intended as a means of closure, but instead reopened old sores. What surprised viewers the most was a remark uttered by Robin Brown. In a memorial episode full of sorrow and remembrance, her attention seemed to be on something completely different. Far from being comforting or paying respect to Garrison's memory, she uttered a surprising remark about her husband, Cody, admiring how handsome he appeared riding horseback. This was at one of the lowest points in the family's history. The fans were shocked. Many believed that her statement was utterly misplaced, insensitive, and even unacceptable. What had the potential to be an experience of collective mourning was sidetracked by Robin's misplaced adoration. The episode, which was meant to be in honor of a young man lost too early, ultimately served to accentuate emotional divisions and personal alienations. Fans found themselves left uneasy and let down, sensing that the direction had been diverted from honoring Garrison to highlighting drama that had no right to have emerged in the midst of such tragedy. Ultimately, what is evident is this: the Brown family is seriously broken, and in times when cohesiveness is most required, those fractures only become deeper, out in full public view. When Robin commented on Cody's handsomeness while he was riding a horse on the family ranch, many found her words to be in poor taste and too suggestive. And this wasn't a private moment. It was recorded and broadcasted during Memorial Week, so it came as all the more shocking to fans. Viewers were left reeling. At a moment when grief and introspection were called for, Robin's remarks felt jarringly inappropriate. While the rest of the family mourned Garrison's passing, she appeared to be more concerned with how her husband looked. It hit a nerve. Folks took to social media within moments, venting all the way from disappointment to outright rage. Why would someone be so clueless when it comes to the pain that surrounds them? To most people, it seemed like infatuation was being placed before empathy, respect, and unity. To longtime viewers, this was more than a singular event. It was representative of deeper, long-standing problems. Robin's actions were interpreted as representative of the issues that have dogged the Brown family. Her presence within the family has frequently caused tension. Throughout the years, she's been chastised by viewers, and even by other members of the family, for centering the show and the family unit around herself and her immediate family. She has stated that the loss of the first sister wives broke what she felt was her family. Instead of honouring their choices to leave the plural marriage, however, it's been claimed that she coerced them to remain for her own interests. This dynamic could have played a big role in Cody's emotional disconnect from his older children. Browsers consider that Robin's apparent dominance over Cody, as well as resentment that she might have felt toward the exiting wives, contributed to building emotional barriers between him and his children from the previous marriages. The tension had been apparent, and it culminated during the memorial episode. Garrison's passing was a tragic loss, and the family gathered in Wyoming to remember and pay tribute to him. The ranch, a family-owned property for generations, provided a setting of reflection and collective grief. Scenes from the episode showed moments of mourning, silence, and remembering as the Browns bid their farewell. But there was a jarring contrast between those few moments and scenes in which Cody rode horseback with Robin and their kids. It seemed like the producers wanted to insert some lighter moments, perhaps to present some sort of relief in the midst of the grieving. And yet, in those same moments, Robin uttered her now notorious comments regarding Cody's cowboy appearance. Comments that many people felt belittled the gravity of the whole episode. The reaction was swift. It was not only the remark, but what it symbolized, that infuriated the fans. Viewers said they were fed up with what they called Robin's selfish storyline, which has shaped much of the recent seasons. The episode only added to the image that she is oblivious and insensitive to others' emotions in the larger family. A viewer pointed out that adding such a tone-deaf moment to a memorial episode seemed like an odd choice by the production team. Some even wondered if the editors intentionally left the moment in to finally reveal Robin's true character without the censoring editing she might have previously been given. Regardless of whether it was intended or not, the outcome was the same. The public witnessed a woman appearing disconnected from the seriousness of the situation and a family under stress, still struggling to keep itself intact while suffering loss, bereavement, and emotional distance. The disparity between Robin's upbeat remarks regarding her husband's appearance and the raw sadness of those actually grieving at the funeral did not pass unnoticed. Numerous viewers were upset by this emotional disconnection, and it only served to bolster the negative impression some already had of her. The contrast between her actions and the mood of the memorial cemented opinions that had been developing for a while. This led to speculation regarding the intentions of the producers in including the contentious remark in the editing process. Fans think that the producers left it in on purpose to highlight the widening rift between members of the family, all for generating controversy. Having such a moment inside a tribute episode raised ethical questions about reality television in general, especially involving intensely personal tragedies. All viewers could do was ask themselves, where is the line between sensational storytelling and exploitation? The episode highlighted the delicate tightrope reality TV must walk when attempting to show real human experience. On one hand, programs such as Sister Wives provide a special insight into intricate emotional and familial relationships. But then on the other, they can sensationalize suffering for the purposes of viewer interaction and success ratings. Robin's words and the furor they caused highlighted how presentation and editing can greatly influence the public's perception. What might have been a careless remark in the privacy of one's own home becomes a closely examined moment when seen on live national television. Aside from public outcry, the family itself may experience internal repercussions. Negative headlines and cyber arguments may fuel existing rifts, making an already emotionally charged situation heavier. With tension and sorrow already at a high point, the additional pressure of public judgment may further complicate the healing process. Robin's record of contentious behavior simply fueled the flames. For some followers, this incident only confirmed long-standing doubts regarding her role in bringing divisiveness to the family rather than harmony. Her actions at such a sensitive time only reinforced the suspicion that she has been a divisive element all along. Even with all the vitriol, however, some have cried out for a more compassionate perspective. It's essential to keep in mind the very human aspect of what we witness on television. Here is a family who has suffered a tragic loss under the watchful eye of millions. While outrage from the public is to be expected, it sometimes fails to appreciate the complexities of mourning. Everyone grieves differently, and not every reaction will come as expected. The most recent episodes of the program have resonated with the public on a very emotional level, as they witnessed the family gather to grieve the senseless loss of a young man who was well loved. The funeral, against the serene landscape of mountains, held special significance for the family, with Garrison being buried next to his grandparents. This location, steeped in memory and tradition, was the setting for the act of both mourning and reminiscence. The burden of past strife was inescapable. Decades of alienation between family members resurfaced in these times of bereavement. Old wounds reopened as the Browns wrestled not only with their sorrow, but also with the unresolved conflicts that had split them apart. Among so many poignant moments, one stood out, and it spoke strongly to fans. Cody Brown, the father who had once headed this sprawling plural family, assumed a symbolic role in burying his son. Even here, however, his troubled relationship with his children, and particularly with his eldest son, became tragically apparent. Cody Brown carried the painful duty of bringing his son's ashes to their rest, a physically and emotionally taxing action that bore great symbolic significance. Himself, he dug the grave, the place where his son would be buried. As the family sat around the new earth, tension hung in the air amid the grief. Cody sat at the perimeter of the grave, clearly depleted by the weight of the moment. His back hunched as if overcome with grief and possibly exhaustion. By his side was his eldest son Logan, a young man who has long preferred a lower profile far from the lenses. Having a reputation for keeping himself to himself, Logan came forward in this most vulnerable of moments to support his mother, Janelle, who was at his side, her own pain raw and palpable. As Cody strained to stand up, Logan automatically extended his hand. But in a shocking moment to all on hand and on television screens, Cody rebuffed the offer without even the softest of murmurs of recognition. The resulting silence was oppressive. A ripple of awkwardness swept through the party, as those on living room couches experienced an uneasy pang of tension. For most viewers, that fleeting refusal said everything. It wasn't merely a father resisting aid from his son, but represented years of unresolved issues and broken relationships. People were quick to note that this might have been a moment of great healing, a possibility to bridge an old emotional distance between the father and the son during a time of common grief. The gesture was spurned instead, working to reinforce the family's years-long narrative of estrangement. Even though he was reserved and usually behind the scenes, Logan again demonstrated maturity beyond his years. His ability to be quietly strong, to be willing to stand up, and to serve others spoke volumes about deep emotional intelligence. He stood there, present, not for himself, but out of obligation and love. His attempt at serving was plain, unselfish, and genuine. That it was rejected only served to enhance the heartache of the moment. Fans were touched by the exchange. Several remembered how Logan used to always play a role of caretaker in the family, rising early to prepare breakfast for his brothers and sisters, silently taking care of things while others slept on. This was starkly different from the father figure who, on this day of immense heartbreak, seemed to be aloof and emotionally detached. Cody's lack of visible compassion didn't end there. Throughout the memorial, he seemed removed from his children's pain, offering no comfort, no open arms, no gestures of unity. Viewers noted how jarring it was that, in a moment of shared mourning, he stood apart emotionally. His demeanor left many questioning the authenticity of the family's public image versus the private reality now playing out before their eyes. Others expressed their frustration outright, naming what they perceived as deeply ingrained patterns of favoritism, emotional withdrawal, and unresolved resentment. These patterns, they contended, appeared to continue even amid tragic loss, when empathy and solidarity would have been the natural reaction. Others wondered if years of complicated family dynamics and inner strife had eroded Cody's relationships with his older children to the point of deep, entrenched damage. The son's humble, honest move uncovered something powerful. He was going to close the gap, to step toward peace. But pride, or hurt, or years of separation, the father's chill rejection served to make one thing painfully clear. Some gaps still persist. In the larger narrative of this family's fraught history, this event was not a moment at a funeral. Although it was a moment at a funeral, it was a symbol, a page in a continuing saga of shattered connections, ancient resentments, and the agonizing attempt to mend deep rifts. The death of a young life is always tragic, but in this instance, it also helped to strip away the layers of a family that has long wrestled with the burden of their own decisions. What might otherwise have been a moment of coming together and mutual help in a tranquil, isolated setting was instead a reminder of how loss is capable of both, uniting people and dividing them further. Years of unsaid hurts have turned even the most intimate moments into strained ones. Love has been smothered by miscommunication, and acts that were meant to soothe instead revealed hurtful truths. Even so, the oldest son demonstrated courage. He decided to appear. Even quietly, his presence and his attempts to stand up for his mother and siblings meant everything. He didn't do it for publicity, he did it because that is who he is. This scene left many wondering, can reconciliation still happen, or are some bonds now irreparably broken to ever heal again? The emotional burden of this moment made me remember that family is not blood. It's about being there when it counts, about empathy, and about putting pride aside when the people you're with are suffering. Thank you so much for watching. If this story made you feel something, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more daily news on the adventures of this family and other inspiring moments from reality television. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your opinion, and share this clip if you're convinced about the healing power, even during the most agonizing moments. Until soon, be nice, be inquisitive, and we'll catch up with you soon.